This week is a work week with rules. It is a full 5-day work week. It's still winter, which we're dealing with. I think this might be one of the last weeks that feels just entirely winter. We'll have to see. And as you know, we're coming out of a season of a little bit of burnout, managing disappointment, all the previous videos, all of that. So I'm excited for this work week, just in the sense of I'm in a mood where I'm like ready to be productive. But because we're managing burnout, this work week has rules. Rule number 1, I'm going to at least try to take my lunch break every single day. I've mentioned it before, but I am paid hourly, which is nice in the sense that if something is too busy and I don't get to pull away for a little break through the day, I still get paid for the time that I'm working. However, sustainability wise, it is good to pull away for 30 minutes, whether I want to read my book, actually like eat while not typing. Lunch breaks are overall good. So take my lunch break, leave on time. Usually I do this. Often if there are times that I'm not leaving on time, it is a situation out of my control that like I truly have to be there and finish something. So to the extent that it's in my control, give credit where credit is due. Rule number 2 is leaving on time. Rule number 3 is I'm gonna try to not mentally think about work all that much at home. This is harder because brains don't always behave. But to the extent that it's in my control, I'm gonna leave work, I'm gonna talk to you, do like a clip about my day and like what I've done. And then after that, I'm gonna try to just take my brain away from work and to my own life. And then rule number 4 is that I'm gonna do things that are fun for my life. I have several shows that are coming out this week that I'm excited to watch. I have books I'm excited to read. May see if I can like plan a fun activity in there somewhere. But in a season of fighting burnout, doing fun things in life are not just extra if you get the time to. They are priorities. All that to say, it's Monday morning. I'm ready to go. It's gonna be a good week. I'm not sure what we're having for dinner tonight, but Zach asked if I'd start rice, so we're starting rice. Today at work was a day that I feel like I say I have like kind of often, where it's just like a lot of little things add up to a full day. Right now my caseload is 21 patients, which is a lot whenever I hold myself to the standard of like being up to date in their charts, trying to know like what they're hospitalized for, what they're going through, and then being able to triage throughout the day, like who I need to see and for what reason. I try to be proactive about seeing people and like assessing for needs, addressing needs before getting consulted, but obviously like I get consulted because things come up in conversations without me that people need me for. So today was a bit of clarification of like who can provide consent. That's a big thing. Sometimes people ask me like what things you need to know to be in medical social work. Being familiar with like consenting policies and like laws is important. In children, it honestly is a little bit easier, but also stricter because like legal guardians can consent unless there's a power of attorney or they've given someone else the authorization to consent on their behalf. For adults though, which there are some patients that I have that are still in the children's hospital but are above 18, things become different because best is to have like an advance directive that can be followed if an adult is incapacitated or unable to provide their own consent at any given time. But then after that, it goes to like a healthcare agent if there's anybody that has power of attorney or has like medical decision-making power for somebody. And then after that, I believe is where it can start to vary state to state. In Georgia, the next of kin order begins with like self, advance directive, power of attorney, like any legal healthcare agent that you have. And then that's when you get like spouse, parent, and it goes down from there of who would be able to consent for you if you're unable to provide your own consent. That's where in some hospitals, families start fighting because no matter how long you've been a girlfriend, unless you're a girlfriend with or fiance with specific legal power of attorney, then an adult's parent is their medical decision maker over you. I wasn't doing all that today. Those are just things I think about, but helping figure out who can make medical decisions on others' behalves, legally, ethically, morally. A little bit of transportation today, a little bit of visitation and custody clarification today, a little bit of just like introduction for ICU families that will likely be long-term. So like to get in there, establish some rapport. A little bit of transfer meetings for planned transfers to different units that are upcoming for a patient of mine. So just like little dabbles and everything. I did take a lunch. I didn't feel like mentally rested in my lunch. I felt a little stressed, but I did take time away from my desk. That was a lunch, so we followed that rule. I did leave on time, so we followed that rule. And now that I've updated you on my day, I'm about to go walk and read is my plan. I can't decide. I have a book on my Kindle and I have a physical copy of a book that I want to read. And the physical book is a book that has published today that I won in a Goodreads giveaway. So I'm like, it'd be best of me to read that one close to publishing date and get started on it. So reading it while walking would be great of me. But it honestly is so much easier to read on a Kindle, I have found, while walking on a treadmill, because I can just turn the font size up pretty big, set the Kindle in front of me, can have both hands going, just tap the Kindle whenever I need to change my page. Whereas a physical book, I'm holding that thing. So I kind of think I'm just gonna bring my Kindle book. I am excited for that book too. It's just not the one that I feel like obligated to read at this time. But that's my me activity for tonight. And then whenever we get home, Zach will be home by then. I may start editing a video. I may pick up some things. We'll just have to see. I'll do some things that feel like me, and I won't let my brain think about work because that is a rule of this week. Tuesday morning, I'm about to head into work. The only thing that I know of that I have scheduled today, beyond just like regular daily rounds, is that I have a one-on-one with my manager in the afternoon. They've been every 6 weeks lately, since now that I have my supervision hours and like have my LCSW, I don't need that anymore. I don't need like as monthly. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, that today might be the one-on-one where they're like handing me off to my new supervisor, sort of. I think I've heard that's happening today. So that'll be kind of fun. I have a new supervisor who has been working for maybe like 6 weeks now, and she's who will be like, who's above me. There's just been this like interim period before she's ready to fully take us on. But I think today's the day that we will have our first. I stocked my bag with all of my goodies to get me through the day. I brought 2 protein bars, just in case. I usually just have one a day, but just in case. The Pure Protein had a coupon this weekend, so I got them to try them. So far, they've been fine. I think I like Quest better, but they've been fine. I've only tried the chocolate mint cookie one so far, but then today I'm also bringing Sundae cone. We'll have to see how that is. And then I have been living for the Ilanis. Like, part of me feels like it's not good because part of me feels like I shouldn't need that much caffeine to get through the day. But sometimes it hits like 10:30, 11 in the morning and I'm feeling really tired. And in my head, lots of times I'm like, wow, this is like way too early. It's still morning. Why am I feeling tired now? But truth of the matter is, by 11, I've already been up for 6 hours. That's like kind of mid-afternoon for me. But I'm bringing my pink slush Alani. I've tried a lot of flavors by now. Pink slush has still been my favorite. And then I'm bringing, this is the book I'm reading now, Where the Wildflowers Grow. It is a heavy book. I think it's like 400 pages, so not absurd, but something about the way it is bound or the paper it uses, I don't know. It is a heavy book. Gonna be a good day today. Gonna make it a good day today. Gonna follow all of my rules. Gonna take my lunch, gonna leave on time. And I'm really still just in that mood where I'm really wanting to be productive, which usually I feel on some level, but today I'm like, I want a to-do list and I want to get on top of it and I want to get everything done and I want to chase that feeling of like, wow, this was a great day. I really did all my things. That's what I'm in the mood for today. Husband. I don't think you've seen my glasses yet. These are a little bit new. I got them a week that I wasn't vlogging and they're actually prescription this time. I've had blue light glasses that I'll sometimes throw on every now and again, but these are actually prescription. Zach and I went to get our like eye exam. I haven't had an eye exam for 5.5 years, and I'd kind of started to notice that I couldn't see as well. I started noticing it because it has happened multiple times, like enough for me to pay attention. In the hallway, I'll be like walking towards someone, or someone's coming towards me, and they'll start acknowledging me or like smiling, waving, say hi or something before I have any idea who they are, which never used to be a thing. Like the last time I got my eyes examined, and it would have been 2020, I believe I had 2010 vision. Like it was better than perfect. Like I could see a smaller font from 20 feet away, which was such a flex for me. That can no longer happen. So I noticed it like with distances like that, and so I went and got my eyes tested, and it's a very small prescription. My right eye is just like a tad bit worse. I believe it's like, oh, I forget, I don't even remember if it's a plus or minus now, but this one's like 0.15 and this one's 0.2. Like it's a very small prescription, and the eye doctor said like I did not have to fill it, I did not have to get glasses if I didn't want to, but he was saying he was noticing because my vision's like gotten worse, then things that are now kind of outside of my like line of sight, I'm like squinting trying to see, and he said that over time that would hurt my eyes more. Like it's not necessarily that the level my vision is at is like awful for me, but that if I keep trying to see things that I used to would have been able to see but now I can't, like that's gonna be what tires out my eyes, like gives me little wrinkles, all of that because of the squinting. So if my eyes had always been like this, then I probably wouldn't have felt the need to like even get glasses. But I mean, it does make me feel more comfortable. Like I do now realize how much I could not see far that now I can with my glasses. So what's kind of funny is that it's like the opposite of readers. You know, people will put on their glasses to like read things, and mine, it's like my out and about glasses. It's like if I'm sitting at my desk at work, I'm not necessarily needing to wear them because I'm just like looking at my computer, looking at things in front of me. But then whenever I'm like getting up to go walk around, that's when they're not required. Like I can see fine without wearing them, but it is much more comfortable with them. And that's new. These frames, I believe they're Ralph Lauren frames. I had to wait like 10 days to get them in. I also have astigmatism. I knew that, or I had like supposed that, just given with like driving at night and everything. I was not feeling great about it because one light can happen, like whether it's like a street light or headlights coming at me, and it can just be like a regular light, and truly it would take up like half my field of vision. Like what was in front of me on the road would be blocked by like a street light that was over there because the light was like that starbursty, which I feel like makes sense if you have astigmatism, and probably doesn't at all if you don't. But so these correct that too. So I haven't driven at night, I haven't had need to since getting them, but theoretically that will be better too. Not a huge life update, just a semi-life update since we've talked in a vlog. My one-on-one meeting with my manager today got pushed till Friday because she had something else that came up, so didn't have that today. I kind of got to go just like from room to room today and like meet new people, just like chat a little bit, which honestly was really good. I've been wanting to have a day like that, and these are the type of interactions that back when I started I would not feel I was like being productive or like being helpful, or I wouldn't even realize like I was using clinical skills, because it was like, oh, I'm just gonna go in, talk, like ask if they need anything, and I'm able to acknowledge now that like in that time I am establishing rapport, I am assessing for needs. Depending on where the conversation goes, sometimes I'm planning interventions, even if the intervention is like give information or complete a referral or things like that. Like we can get to that kind of planning stage of like what we'll do during the admission. I got to do that with like 5 different families today, which felt really nice. And then I was just sitting out on the balcony reading, did that for, let's see, it's 6:13 now, so did that for about an hour, and I'm gonna shower, and then I'm gonna finish editing a YouTube video that I started editing. I did like all of the rough cut yesterday, so now I'll go through, I'll add music, I'll like listen to myself talk, because the amount of pauses that I take and the amount of times that I'll restart a sentence because I get tongue-tied or something, you may be shocked to know because I obviously cut them all out of the videos, but that's where now I watch through the videos so that I can cut those parts out. I'm getting ready for the day, and I figured I would let you know how the week's been going. I have been adhering to my rules. I have taken a lunch every single day, which this is the first week in a row in a while that I have done that every single day. So that feels good, knowing that I'm successful there. Also, I've been leaving on time. I think yesterday I maybe left like 5 minutes late, which I'm not gonna count. And that was just a situation where like something came up at the end of the day, and it wasn't even a big thing, but I just like finished it out and then had to head back to my desk and get my note started to where I could type it the next day. I didn't stay to type the note because I didn't need to. So I think I handled it well. That's what I'm saying. This week I have been so much of like, I know we already talked about like adult consents and next of kin and all of that. That has continued to come up. Like somehow I've become an expert on consenting policies, and I feel like I have several people right now that anytime they're needing consent for anything, the medical team's like calling and being like, can this person sign? And with just like how things are working out, it is like changing almost every single day of like who can sign for different people, which just kind of makes things confusing. So I've been getting lots of calls that are like, we're about to need to do consent for a procedure. Who do I call? Which, if nothing else, makes me feel so very useful. I could be useful in other ways, but I love being useful in that way. And then I've done quite a few transfer meetings this week. Whenever kids transfer units, sometimes medical teams just do like a transfer of care at bedside where they just like go through history, everything the kid's on, all the current orders and everything. But whenever our kids transfer outside of like my usual units, there are certain ones that want a more sit-down meeting just to make sure that like everything is discussed, all questions are asked, and they really feel like they know the patient before the patient arrives to their unit. And so I help coordinate those and then attend to them too. And it's kind of funny because it's one of the things that I'll go months, like I'll do maybe one once a year, and then randomly I'll have a spurt like this where I've had 4 in the past 2 weeks, 2 of which were this week. So I'm just in that era. And then I was talking, this is probably my favorite way to describe what I do that has come up so far. I was talking to people and one of them was saying how when I first introduced myself as a social worker, they were hesitant because they thought that that just meant child protective services, which is something I've talked about before. Like a lot of people think that whenever I'm in the hospital, even though I work with child protective services, but I obviously am not child protective services. And the other person that was there was like, I was trying to tell you, like, she's not CPS, she's 211. And I was like, that's a great distinction, like, correct. Because if you know it, usually 211 is like a number you call to get resources. In Atlanta, there's also like a 311, like those just kind of like reference lines. And I was like, that's a great way to put it. Like, I am the hospital's 211, and that is what I do here. But I've really been being 211 this week, I feel like. I've gotten quite a few emails from like old patients, which I love that people like have, like, obviously boundaries. I can't do like so much when people are outpatient, but like simple questions that people have where they're just like, I've been wondering this thing. I need to know like where to get started with this thing, and I don't know how, I don't know where to look, I don't know where to find accurate information. I love being able to respond to those emails, and I love the fact, selfishly, that people think of me to ask them, and then I can be helpful in that way. Like entirely selfishly, that's like something that makes me feel really good. Heading into today's Friday, sorry. Today's Friday. Heading into today is when my one-on-one with my manager got rescheduled for. So that is this morning, and will be my handoff to where all of my future one-on-ones will be with my new supervisor. Part of me wants to be like, what do you guys say about me? I know you're doing a handoff meeting with me there, but like, what heads up did you give? Like, what's the discussion like whenever you're giving handoff? Oh, still working on the bangs. When I get in, there is a form that I need to chase a doctor down to get a signature on, because I told the family I really hoped to get it done yesterday, which would have been the same day from when they got it to me, just because they're worried about it and would like to get it turned in. But then by the time I'd gotten it yesterday, the doctor had already left for the day. So I'm gonna chase them around today. That's a part of my job that people may not know going into it. There are definitely portions of my day where this is something that's made me laugh lately too. I feel like I'm picking up so many new like phrases that are just my favorite. But I was talking to the coworker yesterday, and it was before the meeting that I had coordinated. I was like, I just need to walk around with a butterfly net, collect all the doctors, and then head to the conference room. And I do feel like that's a part of my job sometimes, is just like butterfly net to doctors, which makes sense because they are saving lives. So like, of course, they're gonna be a little bit hard to find sometimes to get a signature. And that's why I'm always willing to like go to them. Like, I will bring the pen, I will bring a clipboard, I will point exactly where you need to sign. I just need you to sign it. And they're good about that. But I wanna do that early this morning so that I can get that back to the family so that their anxieties are just lessened. And then what else? I have an email that I know I need to send pretty early in the morning. Huge stuff, I know. Other than that though, I don't think there's anything, like, there could just be some new things that come up. Like, I know of a kid getting surgery today, so I'll make sure to find that family and just like show my support, see how they're doing. But I mean, other than that, it'll be if anything comes up. And this is always my hope, I always say it, but I always hope on a Friday that I can just wrap things up, tie it in a little bow. Sometimes that happens better than other times. But so far, without the Friday having happened yet, it's been a good week so far. And I felt good during it. Boundaries don't feel like they're groundbreaking whenever you're like doing them, but it's just the habits over time that I feel like ultimately make you feel better. Yay! I'm done! I chased down the doctor that I was saying I needed to for a signature. I had my one-on-one. It was very productive. There was a while there where I thought I wasn't gonna get a lunch today, which was against my rules for the week, but then I realized it's kind of up to me what I prioritize, and the things that I was going to do instead of a lunch were not actually urgent. And so I could get a lunch. I sat outside. It's beautiful outside, by the way, pretty warm, a little bit springy. Sat outside and then walked a couple laps with a coworker. And then I got to go back to my like non-urgent things and finish them up, and I still got them done in so much sufficient time before the end of the day. Everything feels wrapped up in a little bow for the most part, like a good final point for the end of the week, which is really just what I wanted. Zach's gonna make dinner tonight. He makes dinner most nights. It's lovely. But he asked me to thaw shrimp, so I got shrimp in the sink that is thawing, and I kind of feel like I'm wanting to read my book, and I think I'm gonna draw a bath tonight. The Pit came out last night, so I also want to watch The Pit, but I definitely want to get some pages in of my book. I am currently reading Royal Assassin, which is the second book in the Farseer trilogy by Robin Hobb, and I've been loving it. You know that I was trying to read more fantasy in 2026, and I'm just loving it so much. It's so good. I feel like it's the most cliche thing to say and 0% an original thought, but I just love the feeling of a Friday afternoon. Getting home from work on a Friday just feels unmatched, and it's lovely, and I'm soaking it up. I'm racing against my camera dying for this clip, but I really like how this week went. I feel like from your perspective, it might be a kind of just like mundane vlog where we just like chatted about some things that I did, and it might be short, I'm not really sure. But for me, even though this wasn't like one of those where I'm checking off my little goals, my little rules every single day, just having the guidelines in my head, really I feel like was helpful. I do think the busy season that I have been in is kind of waning or waxing, whatever the right word is kind of maybe getting a little bit better, which I think just goes to show like everything is a season. No matter what it is, everything is a season, and you'll make it out the other side. And also sometimes there are things that you can do to help yourself make it out the other side, which I feel like having the boundaries and just like being proactive and engaging in good habits to like protect yourself and not give too much are all important. So I hope that this like more work-focused vlog was fun for you. I cannot emphasize enough just how excited I am that it is Friday and we're heading into the weekend. Like I'm thrilled. If nothing else, tough work weeks make Fridays that much better. This wasn't even a tough work week, which is like the recent history of tough work weeks have made this Friday so much better. I am reading The Royal Assassin still, and I'm gonna get some more pages in before I go to sleep, but I'm gonna try to go to sleep like relatively early. It's 9:16 right now, so I'll just maybe read for like 30 minutes or so. Thank you for joining me for this week. I appreciate you so much for being here, for taking little moments out of your day to hang out with me. I just can't believe it. I feel so grateful. I hope you have a great week, and if there's anything that you need to implement, any rules you need to implement into your week to make your week better, do so. I'll see you next time.